So if we could walk through each of these, we'll go through them one by one, and I'd like for you with each one to explain what it is, and then explain how it applies to George Floyd. So let's start with the number one, inappropriate clothing, naked or partially clothed. What is the significance of this one? How does it manifest?
When we get a call of a naked man in the street, first thing I'm thinking is excited delirium. Why? Well, would somebody take off their clothes? Well, their body is hot. So in the case of Mr. Floyd, was he appropriately dressed or inappropriately dressed for the weather? And in the case of Mr. Floyd, I think the temperature was in the 70s and he is appropriately dressed. Therefore, this does not apply to Mr. Floyd.
So what about the second one? Attraction to glass, destruction of glass, mirrors, lights on vehicles.
This is another sign that someone with excited delirium, they're attracted to glass, to lights, and mirrors. Sometimes they will kick, punch, try to break the glass, break the mirrors, because for some reason their brain says that is a threat to them. When you watch the video of Mr. Floyd in the store, glass all around him. Was he attracted to any glass on the counter, in the windows? No. So in Mr. Floyd's case, doesn't apply either.
So you eliminated the second one?
Yes, sir, I did.
What about the failure to respond to police presence? What does that mean?
That means when an officer gives you a command to do something, you don't even hear it. You're going on. When we watch the video of the officer asking Mr. Floyd to go to the sidewalk, sit down, does he comply? Absolutely, he complies. Does not apply to Mr. Floyd.
Because you saw him being responsive to the police.
He was responsive, answering appropriate questions, giving appropriate answers.
Number four, constant or near constant physical activity. What does that mean?
That means these individuals are sped up. Their body is going 90 miles an hour. And in this case, what do we see Mr. Floyd do? He sits down. He's able to sit down. He's not going 90 miles an hour. His activity level isn't constant. So you can cross that one off the
You
list.
saw no evidence of it.
I'm sorry, sir?
I said you saw no evidence of it.
I saw absolutely no evidence of that, sir.
Number five, not tiring despite heavy exertion.
This again, these people can run a marathon. If you have police officers chasing them, they're outrunning the police. These people go and go and go. Why? Because they're sped up. In this case, did we see Mr. Floyd tire? Absolutely, we saw him tire. We saw him tired to the point where he stopped breathing. So, does it apply in this case? No, it does not.
Number six, unexpected or unusual strength.
These people are described as having superhuman strength. They're throwing police officers off right and left. Somebody my size is throwing people off right and left. What do we see in this case? Is Mr. Floyd able to throw those police officers off that have him on the ground? No, he's not. So in this case, it does not apply.
Number seven, unaffected by pain.
When we listen to the tapes, do we hear Mr. Floyd complain of pain? Absolutely we do. Pain in his neck, pain in his face, pain in his back. He's complaining of pain. So does this apply to Mr. Floyd? Absolutely not. If Mr. Floyd did not complain of pain, we could add it into the list. But in this case, he's complaining of pain from the time he gets on the ground. Does not apply.
Number eight, very rapid breathing.
These individuals will have a breathing rate 30 to 40 times a minute. Very rapid breathing. When I watched the videotape and counted Mr. Floyd's respirations at different points, it was at one point it was 0, but the other times it's 15 to 20, 22, 23, in that range. By breathing criteria, he does not meet the excited delirium criteria.
What about number 9, excessive heat or hot to touch?
A couple ways to assess this. Did you see evidence of excessive sweating? What did the the ER docs describe when Mr. Floyd presented to the ER? He was cool to touch. When these patients come into the ER, their temperature, you touch them, they are hot. They could be 104, 105, 106, even 107 degrees temperature. Mr. Floyd was cool to touch. Does not apply.
And then excessive sweating, number 10.
Again, because when your body gets hot, when your temperature goes up, what does your body want to do? It wants to sweat to cool you down. So when I watch the video, do I see evidence of sweating on Mr. Floyd? No, it's not there. So again, does not apply.
So Dr. Smock, if we have to have a minimum of 6 of these items, 6 of 10 for excited delirium, how many did you see?
Zip.